Mothership, come in, please. Thank you.
You got speed?
Speed.
All right. So our film is called Lord Save Us from Your Followers. So we're trying to have a little self-awareness, which isn't necessarily something we do particularly well.
Save me from me.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So my question is, I'm trying to understand why the gospel of love is dividing America right now. The Christian rights fingerprints are on so many of the things. We, off camera, talked a little bit about some of the conflicts. What's going on?
Well, I mean, what's going on? I mean, Christians sit back and they look at what's going on in America. They look at, you know, what's happened in the classroom. They see young kids today becoming criminals, going into gangs and all these kinds of things. And you know, many of us believe that if you had Christian values put back into America, that somehow all of this would, in fact, change. I mean, we have more fatherless homes now than we've ever had in the history of man. But if you look at the culture uplifts that. That seems to be okay. When a Hollywood star breaks up with her husband or his wife, it's like uplifted, like it's the greatest thing on the planet. And they don't look at the fact you just broke up a marriage, you broke up a twosome. But instead of that being put down, it's in fact uplifted. So you have young girls all over the planet who think, well, it's okay. That's okay. That's all right. You don't have to get married. You can live together. You don't have to have, you know, anything steady for any long period of time. And parents are in this battle to say, no, there are values in America. There are morals in America, and we need to get back to those values and morals.
Now, you mentioned to me a couple of minutes ago three numbers, 24, 43, 14. What are the significance of those numbers?
Good memory. You remember those numbers. Well, 24, because I talk a lot to pro-life groups, crisis pregnancy centers, and what have you, being adopted myself. And 24 represents the percentage of young girls who get abortions who say they're Catholic. 43 represents the percentage of young girls who get abortions who say that they're Protestant. 14 represents the percentage of girls who get abortions who say they're evangelical, born-again Christians. So my question when I talk to these groups is, you know, you're looking at the government to pass a law to stop our daughters from getting abortions. But what are we doing wrong in our own households that are causing our daughters to go out and get these abortions? We have to look inward sometimes, and so often we look outward like we're holier than thou, we don't make mistakes, we're godly, we go to church on Sunday, so we've done nothing wrong, but yet it's our daughters who are more fearful of telling us they're pregnant than they are of the abortionist.
So that's 70% of the people. So in this us versus them thing, we're the us and the them almost.
We are the us and the them, and we don't want to see it. We don't want to realize that we are the us and the them. I say in my talks, we can all quote John 3:16. You know, we think it's great. God sent his son to die for my sins. But what father out there, what mother, what families putting themselves on a cross for their own children's sins? I talk to people all the time on my radio show. When my daughter gets pregnant, I'm kicking her out of the house. Well, you just sent her to the abortionist is what you did. Or, gosh, I'm an elder, I'm a deacon in the church. You're an embarrassment to me. Well, what'd you do? You just sent her to an abortion. That's what you did. So we have to start looking inward and say, what can we do to change the dynamic so that our daughters are more fearful of the abortionist than of us? And we have to have the heart of God and put ourselves on the cross sometimes for our own children.
A little pride, a little humility goes a long way.
Absolutely.
What happens if we get prayer back in school? There won't be anything to fight about.
You're absolutely right. You know the question I ask? I had people calling me the whole thing on prayer. And I said to them, and I ask this question repeatedly when I'm confronted with this. I said, okay, prayer is no longer allowed in school. When was the last time you prayed with your child before they went to school? And all of a sudden you get dead silence. Well, why are we counting on the government to have prayer in school? You know, we need to be praying with our children before they, in fact, go to school. And maybe through their light shining, other lights will also shine. You know, Scott Bauer was a dear friend of mine. Pastor Scott, Church on the Way. Jack Havert's son-in-law passed away a couple of years ago. Yeah. We were dear friends. He gave a sermon one day that really nailed me. And the sermon was about Bill Clinton. And he asked the question of the people in the congregation. He says, how many of you here prayed for Bill Clinton? You know, and like 2 or 3 hands went up. Not mine. By the way, not mine. And he said, you know something? Did you ever think, had we prayed for Bill Clinton, that maybe he would not have gotten into the situations that, in fact, he got in the Oval Office? But we Christians so often will pray for those we love, pray for those that we care about, but we forget to pray for those people who really, in fact, do need prayer. And I thought to myself, you know, I'm here today, I'm existing because people prayed for me. I should have been praying for Bill Clinton. Maybe if I had, Monica Lewinsky never would have happened. I think that's a mistake we make.